Good morning, my TC King family. How's everybody today? I was so excited. I actually hit the Oklahoma San Antonio. It's the first game I hit of this series. Crazy. But that's what should happen. The team wins at home. All right, just a second. All right. So we start off with our gold, and our gold went down, and we're like, okay, but it's paper and it's for the gas. So we don't get upset. I do need to sell an ounce as my dollars are dwindling, but I have enough for this month and then probably for next month. So I should be okay. I might go up north to the lake, although it gets really busy July 4th. So if I go, it'll be maybe early June just to do something. We see it's 10:30. We see gold had gone down from 44.90 to 44.10 and back to 44.45. So it's always interesting how it drops and then comes up. It's all options, it's all paper. Nobody's selling an ounce of gold or silver. Silver back near 75. Again, this is just bullshit. I don't know why the silver's going down. People aren't selling silver to buy oil, so that makes it's just the dollar being worth more because all the other dollars in the other countries are worth less. The dollar's not strengthened at all. And then that causes gold and silver to go down because the dollar gets stronger. It makes zero sense to me. It's absolutely the stupidest thing I've ever heard. What if the dollar goes up against other currencies? Why would the gold price go down? What would cause gold to go down? Only in the paper market. Let's see. Gold is 44.50. Silver at 75. MLB. Picks. Red hot. NBA. Have a nice. Here's where I get confused, especially with the holiday. Today is Thursday. It is not Tuesday because the holiday you didn't work. And so then on Tuesday was yesterday, which we didn't know, and then today being Wednesday. So anyway, tomorrow I'll get my fridge on Friday. As far as I know, they haven't said anything. I was a little worried that, oh, you can't buy your own fridge or, but they didn't say boo. I think in their minds, they think, oh, we're getting a new fridge and we don't have to pay for it, except for I'll take it with because it's not a full, it's a full fridge is like 15 CUs, whatever that means. And mine's 10.1. So it's a little smaller, but not, not like this big, right? I can fit, an apple in it and that's it. Same thing with my microwave. It's not a full microwave. Instead of being this big, it's like this big, but I can stick my coffee. There's plenty of room and warm up my chicken, anything, soup or anything I want. So that's when you really critically think it, what's the point of the microwave? To heat up food. That's what it's doing. So does it have to be this big to heat up this much food or can it be this big? So that's what I'm doing. So fine. And then so the same thing with the fridge. So I'll probably have to pay the guy $20. I'll tip him $20 to put the fridge in the hall. And I wasn't sure what to expect out of the apartment. Like, oh no, you can't leave it in the hall, and have them put it on the sidewalk. They didn't say anything. I just said I'm putting it on the hall. They're like, okay. Now the one thing is, I owe rent next Monday. The first one I gave him a cashier's check. So this one I want to go online and pay it using my bank account, and I don't have a link. At least I don't think I have the link. I guess it's the same link I used to create. I don't know. Yeah, I don't remember where that is. And the girl said, "Oh yeah, I'll send it." And they say, "Well, we'll do it," but they don't. Like, the doorbell doesn't. It's like if you rang my doorbell, I wouldn't hear it, and then I wouldn't be able to buzz you up. I'm on the second floor. I didn't have that problem. The old one, it was first floor. You'd go right into my apartment. So this is the problem. It's really strange. They do very little work, but on the other hand, if you're doing something, they don't really give you a problem. So when I'll have them stick the fridge in the hall, and then I'm fine with that. I don't care, because I only see it when I walk to the car. There's no pool here. I go to the club to go to the pool, so it's not like I'm going to go to the pool and lay out. I found at my last apartment there was a lot of kids, so the kids would go to the pool, but I don't need that. It's too noisy anyway. So I will go to my club, as I do every day anyway, and do that. So I really won't see the fridge, but hopefully it's coming Friday, hopefully Friday morning, and then I can say you can pick it up whenever. They don't tend to work on the weekends, which I don't know why. It's like going to the doctor. Well, don't get sick on a Sunday. The doctor doesn't work Sunday. I mean, it's incredible. The urgent cares work on every day. So if you ever get sick, you can go there. I found out with my foot, I don't know what the gout really is, because I had my last piece I had a piece of chocolate cream pie just to get some chocolate. So I ate it, and my foot all of a sudden got a little bit hard. Hi, Behold, how are you? Haven't seen you in a while. How's everything? How's your memorial and everything else? So I found out eating the piece of chocolate cream pie, my foot swelled up a little bit. I can walk on it. It's a little gout, but it's there. So it's really probably the sugar that's, if you're having feet problem and you think it's gout, it's probably not gout, because I haven't had a hamburger. Even when I have hamburgers, it really doesn't do anything. I'll eat a hamburger, my foot doesn't bother me, but a piece of pie, yes. Why am I eating the piece of pie? Well, you're okay. It was the holiday. Yeah, sometimes I just have a taste. Some people get addicted to certain things, and I'm more addicted to like chocolate or caffeine, I guess. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. So watch that. Behold, it was great. Hot dogs and soda throughout the weekend. You're looking good. Thank you. I appreciate it. Sounds like a nice weekend. There you go. What I'm getting is my hair. I put castor oil on my head, and I'm getting a lot more hair growing in. It's almost fully in. This is really hair up here. It's just thinner. So it grows in thinner, and then it gets, I mean, look how thick this is. So if you go back to an older video, I didn't have much of this, especially on top. So now when I go get my haircut, I got to go to say, okay, change the haircut now. We now I got hair. You can cut it differently. Basically, she just does this, and then it's like she just combs it forward. I'm like, yeah, it looks stupid. I don't like that cut. So we'll see. But I don't really like. I can do this on my own. So, but that's really what all this, all this here and this here is kind of thicker and growing in. So that's good. But anyway, yeah, it's nice having that holiday weekend. It's good, and We need to relax. See, if we've all bought gold and silver, we really don't have anything to worry about. Um, yeah, the gold's 44, 45. I need to sell something. I don't know what I'm going to sell. I can sell a half ounce, which should get me about 2,200 times 97%. It'll get me about 2,000. Or I can sell 1 ounce, which will get me 4,200. Now, where I'm at is I just need to sell. My dollars are depleted. I have enough for a couple more months because I don't use it much, but my credit cards are getting high with the food and the gas. So I need like $1,000 to lower the credit card. The other credit cards I don't use. I just use the one. And Social Security, pretty much, now that I've lowered the rent, has so the rent went down $350. So that goes and pays 2 credit cards. I just pay the minimum. I'm not trying to pay them off because I know the dollar is worthless. So you keep an eye on that. Like I say, it's just waiting for gold to hit 10,000. We know it will, and that's why I use the Titanic. We know the Titanic is going to sink, right? We know the water's coming in, it's sinking. We know the dollar, the water's coming in and it's sinking. We know they can't sell treasuries. Nobody wants it. We know they keep selling, they keep printing money to pay the monthly Social Security and government employees and the interest on the debt. So they keep printing money for that. So what I heard is the new treasury, the new, central bank guy is more of supposedly a Milton Friedman guy. And I don't know. I thought Milton Friedman was always kind of conservative, laissez-faire, but I don't think some of the things he says doesn't make sense to me. And so I'm not really sure who he is, but this guy, I don't know. Supposedly, you might be Austrian, but when you get into the Fed, you're not. You turn Keynesian. They want to keep the money printing, and they don't allow you to come out with a gold standard or things like that. Even though Alan Greenspan was a Austrian, and then in there he never was, and they talk gobbledygook, so you never can follow them. So anyway, he got appointed. It sounds like what he's trying to do is to lower the debt. He's not going to renew the bonds. So let's say you have $5 trillion in bonds coming due this year. So what you do is you have to renew them at the higher rate. And what he's going to do is not renew them. So 5 trillion will come off the debt. But to do that, you're going to have to print $5 trillion. The dollar's already worthless. So good luck doing that. I'm not sure you can do that. I'm not sure whoever you're paying is going to want this crap dollars. But this is why they don't tell you the dollar's worthless. They don't tell you to buy gold and silver because they're going to I'm going to pay you in dollars. Oh, there's nothing wrong. Inflation's 2%. It's all part of the game. So the people getting the money don't realize the money's worthless. If you realize your paycheck was worthless, would you work? Probably not. However, all the other things you buy with it are worthless. So when you buy a $20 steak, it's really, 20 cents. So would you buy a steak for 20 cents? Of course. Well, that's kind of what you're doing. But what you're doing with the dollar, it's really worthless. So your $20 is worth 20 cents also. But if you knew your paycheck was worthless, would you work? And that's kind of what it is. So if everybody knew the dollar was worthless, they wouldn't take it for the treasuries, right? I couldn't pay you for the treasury bills if you knew I'm paying you in monopoly money. So they don't say the dollar's worthless. Otherwise, nobody would work. I don't know how anybody would sell anything in dollars. And we're this close from the wheelbarrow. We're really close to it. It's like I said, $100,000 is worth 1,000 in our world. So you can transfer the 100,000 into gold and watch the gold go up. Now they're holding the gold down. I don't know if they're holding it down as much now or if it's just the price of oil has gone up. And if you need to buy oil, if you're these other countries, you are apparently selling your options in order to buy the oil. So like Turkey, somebody said they sold 15,000 tons. Not physical. Physical cannot change the COMEX price. Selling gold and physical does not change COMEX, and buying gold and physical, God knows that doesn't change COMEX. COMEX is done only by options. So if Turkey's selling, they're selling paper, and that's why the price is going down. And it's not by supply and demand. It's not people selling their physical gold, but what you have is people needing dollars as the dollars become worthless. It takes me more dollars at the grocery store to buy things because the dollar's worthless. So I will sell some gold, but the physical gold we sell isn't going to make a difference. I got to sell. I don't know what I'm going to sell. Let's say I sell an ounce, I'll get 4,500. It's 44.42. I'll get 42.50 or something, which is fine. I need a couple hundred a month because I get my Social Security in until it won't come in. But then at that point, everything will collapse. So when I get that in, I get, so that pays rent and most of the bills with Social Security. So I need a couple $100 more, and that's it. So if I sell 4,000 in gold, I'm set. I can pay a little bit more to a certain credit card, and then I can take 200 or 300 a month and pay that. And so it should give me a year, basically. $4,000, take 300 a month, 12 months is 3,600. So that's that. And I don't need 300 because I switched apartments. So the benefit of moving here was it saved me $350 a month. The problem here is the fridge and the oven, the appliances are not new, which I've never seen that, and it was never stated that. There's a guy at the pool who told me about the apartment. He lives here, supposedly. He said, oh, no problem. Everything's fine. Now, he might have paid more for his appliances, so he doesn't realize it. They never mention, oh, well, if you move in here, you're going to get these shitty appliances. If you get here, you get new ones. Nobody said that. Now, on the other hand, my fridge is costing me $349, no delivery charge, and it's coming Friday. So, and the apartment probably doesn't care. They think, oh, well, he can't take the fridge with him. Well, let's see where I live. But yes, I probably won't, because how am I? Okay, let's say I move to Florida or Texas or Puerto Rico or Singapore, move over with Pat. I'm not taking the fridge there, because where I'm going to move, it's going to have a fridge. If you rent a condo, you're getting a fridge. Most apartments, you get new appliances, and that'll be the first question I ask at my next place is, okay, are these appliances going to be new? And I want it in writing. Don't give me 20-year-olds. So really, it'll switch the fridge. The fridge is noisy, so that'll help. Outside of that, it's fine. Second floor, there's nobody above me and nobody shouting. And if the lady across the hall has her TV on loud, I don't hear it once I'm inside. So that's it. And that's so. Otherwise, it's smaller, but for my purpose, it's fine. So again, it's where the questions you need to ask. Am I getting to a point? Why would I think I'd need to ask that question? And if I wasn't, fine. But so $339, it goes on the credit card. Who cares? I'll take 20 years to pay it off. And that'll be it. So anyway, so Friday, I'll know. They're supposed to call me Thursday and say it's coming between 8 and noon, I guess, or 1 and 5. It's a 4-hour gap. And then the day of, they'll call me when they're a half hour out. So if they say 8 to noon, I'll do class, and then, we'll go from there. If they say 1 to 5, then I might go to the pool early and do class and wait for them. And then they're going to call me, okay, we're half hour away, which is fine. Anyway, it'll be peace and quiet. They just want to, for some reason, leave the fridge in the kitchen. But in this kitchen, there's no room. So they'll have to take it out to put the new one in. And then by taking it out, they're 5 feet from the door. Hey, guys, just put it in the hall. And if I need to give them $20, I will. But I'll be the professor, and normally they'll just do it. Just because I'm friendly, and they'll be friendly, and they're like, okay, sure, we'll take it out. Anyway, so that's what's happening. So the gold, it's really because of the oil, which is Trump doesn't know what he's doing. I don't know if they want an end to this war. I don't know why they started it. And if they thought they were going to win it in one day, they're out of their fucking minds. Venezuela was not really a war. They paid to take the guy out. So they paid off the people. And then the next regime is running it. So they didn't care. So all they did was get rid of one guy for another. We don't have any access to oil. You can't get out of it. It's really thick oil. It's not really good oil. And Russia and China took all the gold and diamonds out and silver. So there's nothing there really. It's a bunch of jungle. So we are broke and we need oil. We're trying to do the Hitler playbook, go get the central banks and steal their gold. But we're not able to do that. So anyway, that's what's happening there. Let's get into sports, and then we'll get into economics. Any other questions? So let's look at streaks, because I was just looking at it. And the streaks I've got, first the National League. I got Washington on a 4-game winning streak. The Mets are on a 5-game losing streak. They're not hitting. The Cubbies are now on a 10-game losing streak. I gave you Pitt yesterday as a freebie, and they won. They won big, like 12-1. So the Cubs are just had 10-game winning streak now twice, and now a 10-game losing streak. So they're 29-26, but you win on the 10-game winning streaks, and now you're winning betting against them on their 10-game losing streak. So that's the way everything works. So it looks 50-50, but it isn't. 4-game winning streaks. We got the Dodgers in Arizona, and a 4-game losing streak. We got Colorado. Now, a lot of it could be the schedule. Colorado's playing the Dodgers now, so they're not going to win. How is it Colorado playing Houston? So that's why you like to let it go. Let's see. Boston's on a 4-game losing streak. Ranger Suarez lost yesterday. That was your free pick. The Ranger against the good pitcher on Atlanta shouldn't have got 3 runs, and they got a lot of runs late in the game. We were under 8.5, and they scored a 17. So that was a loser. But Ranger Suarez, he didn't pitch that good. So, it's just certain teams, certain matchups. Any other streaks? California's on a 4-game winning streak. So when we look at it, winning streaks, California, Washington, the Dodgers in Arizona, but they're not big winning streaks. They're 4 games. And the loser, the Cubs are on the 10-game losing streak. Boston, the Mets, and Colorado also on losing streaks. Now, I'm not going to blindly bet the streak. I will on the Pitt game, but I'm not going to blindly bet it. Let's say Boston or Colorado, just take the other team. But if the matchup's there, I'm going to do it. So I think once it hits like 6 or 7, then I'll just, like with the Cubs, I'm just betting against the Cubs. I took Houston, weren't great pitching matchups, but Houston beat them. And now here comes Pittsburgh. It's not Skenes going, but Skenes will lock up. Skenes will be like a 5-6 unit when they play. All right, so let's look at scores yesterday. I noticed my internet's a little slow on my phone. To load the pages, it's a little bit slower. It's a little better today, but yesterday was really slow. Okay. So let's look at yesterday's games. Washington 6, Cleveland 3. Cleveland, very good team, but Washington's got them. Washington playing well, as we said. They're on a streak. We'll look at them today. Baltimore 6, Tampa 1. Tampa doesn't normally lose, but we stayed away from them. We didn't like the matchup in the pitching. We didn't play them, but Baltimore beat Tampa 6-1. California 10, Detroit 6. I didn't play this one either. I did like the over. It was a pitching matchup for the over. Your Mets stink. They're just in a slump. I mean, they picked up. You got Bo Bichette, but yeah, the pitching's a little bit weak right now. So the Tigers were up. They were down 4-2. They make it 6-4, and they lose 10-6. So the Tigers, they did play an over. The pitching dictated an over, but they're such a bad hitting team. They have 2 hitters, and they got 2 like 280, 300 hitters, and then there's 6 guys on the team that aren't hitting 210. 6 guys in their batting order. So how do you bet the Tigers over? But their bullpen sucks too. So this probably is an over series. California is on a streak, so we'll look about that. Pirates, I gave you the free pick, 12-1 over the Cubs. Thank you. That was a good one. And now they were on a 9-game losing streak. Now they're on a 10-game losing streak. And I'm sure we'll play the Pirates again today. Off we go. Atlanta, Boston. This one's really mysterious. Ranger Suarez against Strider on Atlanta with a 3 ERA, 7.6 with probably 5 of the 13 runs or 6 coming after the 7th inning. And this is the problem. You look at Ranger Suarez, he pitches like 5 2/3, and he pitches 98 pitches because they're hitting foul balls off of him. But I blame the managers in this whole scheme. You should not be pitch counting your pitchers. So if you say, Ranger, you're going 150 pitches, these foul balls are meaningless because these guys can't get to 7 innings because they're at 98, 95 pitches after 5 or 6. I'm listening to the Tiger game, and the announcers are all excited that the guy had a good at bat. He walked after looking at 12 pitches. So it's a good at bat if you foul the balls off and get 12 pitches out of the pitcher. That's a good at bat, even though you don't get a hit. How is that a good at bat? So that's really the problem. You're looking at crap, and not good. So this is the problem. They go up there looking for a walk. So that's what's happening. Like Ranger Suarez, there's a few others where, the guy pitches 5 innings and then you check and it's 90 pitches. The guys who pitch 80, you're questioning. The guys who pitch 90, you really just, why are you having such? And then a guy pitches 106 pitches, you're all like, oh my God, he must be exhausted. He must be 2 weeks vacation. He pitched 106 pitches. These guys should be pitching 150, 160 pitches. They've got it so psychological that they can only go 90 to 100 pitches. But in reality, you look at Nolan Ryan, Tom Seaver, Carlton, Koufax. Koufax would regularly go all 9. So, I mean, this foul ball crap, it ruins the game, just like the 3-point shot ruins basketball. Anyway, Toronto 8, Miami 1, and we didn't play that one either. Boy, I was really disciplined yesterday. I didn't like the pitchers, or I had a TBD. So when I get a TBD, I don't know who I'm getting. So Toronto 8-1. Miami's a good hitting team, so the holding the one was good. Finally, our first bet, Cincinnati -120. We had them for 2 units against the Jets's. Mets aren't hitting, but again, they played the ace of the Cincinnati with the guy who has a 1.7 ERA. So did you expect a 15-hit attack against the guy with a 1.7 ERA? Of course not. That's why I played the Reds. They have this good pitcher. Minnesota 5-3 in 11 innings, and I had Minnesota. I didn't realize I had them until it was Joe Ryan, and they were -110, and I played them. And I get, to me, that's lucky. Winning with Minnesota on the road, I'm lucky. Murakami blast game tying 2-run homer for the White Sox. So, yeah, you probably need to walk that guy. I don't know why you pitched it. It always amazes me. You'll have a guy hitting like 270 to 300, and then you have a guy hitting 208, and you pitch to the guy hitting 300. No, no, no. Walk him, pitch to the guy hitting 208. He can't hit. The other guy can hit. Don't pitch to the guy who can hit. That's the guy you're gonna walk, and intentionally walk him so you only pitch 4 pitches, not 15 pitches to get to the walk. The Yankees 15, Kansas City 1. Yankees are on they're not on a streak. We had that one good, 2 units. I think they had Schittler was on the mound for the Yankees. KC had a nobody. Milwaukee 6, St. Louis nothing. We played this one under 8, and we won 2 units as there was 2 good pitchers going. So that worked out. Texas 10, Houston 7. The Rangers scored 8 runs in the first inning, and they win 10-7. I didn't play that. I don't know what to do with Texas and Houston can't hit, and then they play a 10-7 game. So, again, it comes back to the pitching. So, against bad pitchers, they're still going to hit. Seattle 4, Oakland 1. I had Oakland in this game. No, I didn't. I played Oakland under 9.5, and it stayed under 9.5. Yeah, that's not the one I lost on. This is the one I lost on. Philly 4, San Diego 3 with 2 kind of weak pitchers, and I got Philly over 8. I was shocked that they didn't score more and that San Diego didn't. I was surprised this wasn't higher. So, yeah, it's kind of surprising. Harper played, Schwarber played. So, just one of those games. Arizona 7, the 49ers 5. We have Arizona as really the dog, and 2 units, and Arizona wins. So that was 7-5. And our last game, the Dodgers over 9, 2 units. They win 15-6. Probably should have been more than 2 units. I'm being conservative at this way. Most of my bets are 2 units. And then a few, the runs I really like are 3. The Philly game, was 3 units yesterday. The Boston game under 8. The one I gave you was 3. The Pittsburgh game also that I gave you was 3. Everything else was 2 yesterday. So let's go to today's games. Oh, wait, let's go to basketball. So what a happy day. I finally hit I won all 4 of the Knicks games, and then I keep losing on San Antonio. They're going to bounce back. No. Then I took Oklahoma. Okay, they're hot. No, they lost. So finally I had Oklahoma laying 4.5. They win 127-114. They're now up 3-2 in the series. And tomorrow we've got San Antonio at home in a must-win game. 3.5. They're laying 3.5 to 18.5. These have been going over, although there is a few unders put in. I like San Antonio here, laying the 3.5. They must win. And they're only laying 3.5, which means just win the game. I had 3 units on the game yesterday on Oklahoma. So I will probably go 3 units on San Antonio. They're done, right? They go down 4-2. Again, Oklahoma knows they can lose, and they get game 7 at home. San Antonio knows they can't lose. And I guess the difference is when Winnebago in the paint scoring, they win. If he's outside, they don't. Why he's not in the paint, I don't know. If a guy's 7'4" who can play like him, he's standing under the basket. It's like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Chief, just stand under the basket, the ball. I mean, that's all this guy should be doing is just standing under the basket, and here you go. Alley-oop 50 times a game. So I don't think San Antonio is going to just go down without a fight. I don't know if they'll win, but they'll play a good game. I would believe there'll be a game 7. Because I think San Antonio is too talented to lose at home, a must-win game. And B, the networks definitely want a game 7. and then they play the Knickies. And how good are the Knicks? We don't know. This is the problem when you play kind of the weak schedule in football, like Michigan a couple years ago. Michigan goes undefeated, plays high school teams. The whole schedule is high school teams, except for I think they beat Ohio State, which sucked, and and then in the playoffs they beat Alabama and Milrose, who really wasn't a normal strong Alabama team, and then they get to Washington and they beat Washington, running it down their throat. So the only team they really played was Washington. The Alabama game, which they should have lost, wasn't that strong. And then you realize Alabama wins if Milrose doesn't fumble the ball with 5 minutes left. Alabama wins that game because he fumbled it at midfield. But they played the Ohio State game. They weren't a good team, and Alabama was average at best. They weren't that, and even Washington with Penix was a good team. That was the best team they beat. So this is what the Knicks are. Well, who they beat? Cleveland, they swept them. Philly, they swept them. And Atlanta won a couple of games against them somehow. And so you just scratch your head going, well, Philly I know is good. I was surprised Embiid played and Ansley played. I believe Ansley's the guard, or Mabley or something. And then Cleveland, now, Cleveland ran into a matchup problem because when Harden was on the court, they were just going after Harden. He couldn't guard anybody. And that's hard, always hard. He's a scorer, but when the games get up, he had games in the playoffs, and he can't guard anybody. So I'm sure the Knicks just posted him and scored 50 points a game on him. Anyway, we'll see. Now, it'll be a good series, the Knicks, Oklahoma, Knicks, San Antonio. My guess is it'll be Oklahoma. I believe San Antonio wins game 6. Oklahoma will rest. I didn't even, this one guy, he's an all NBA, was out. He's injured. I didn't even know. I've never heard of him. Jalen Williams or something. I don't even know who he is. That's the problem with the NBA. Once you lose the college, you don't know these guys. Like we all know Mendoza, but in basketball, nobody knew Winnebago. Nobody knew Luca Brasi. Nobody knows because they're not even in the U.S. They're playing in Europe or somewhere. God knows where Winnebago is playing. What, in Africa somewhere? So you had that, and you don't know, the players. So when this guy's injured, I've never heard of him. Oh, he's all NBA, really? Oh, okay, never heard of him. So that's the thing. So I didn't know he was injured. And obviously, no fact is Oklahoma won by 13 points. So I believe San Antonio at home wins. It's a huge factor at home. And then game 7, we will see. That's where we're at. Okay, let's look at baseball today. I knew I was going to win a lot yesterday. So I ended up going 7-2 plus 10 units yesterday. That's how good I was yesterday. And the 2 losers, Boston with Ranger, that's an obvious under against a good pitcher for Atlanta. And then Philadelphia over 8, and they win by 7. They score 7 runs. I'm over 8. Otherwise, I'm winning with Minnesota. I'm winning with the Yankees, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, Arizona. Unbelievable. So I knew I was going to have a good day. And I didn't blindly play the streaks, except for, of course, the Cubs, but we've been betting against the Cubs. So, as we see, teams on winning streaks, California, Washington, LA, and Arizona, and the teams on losing streaks, the Cubs, who we definitely have taken Pitt, Boston, the Mets, and Colorado. So let's see, Miami and Toronto. We have no streak going here. We have Kevin Gausman, 3-2-3, going against Perez, 4.97. Toronto's a 145 and 7.5 favorite. We got Cleveland, Washington. Washington is on a win streak. Cleveland minus 180 and 8. Miles McCullough for Washington, 8.28. And Grant Williams for Cleveland, 326. I would say goodbye, winning streak. Here's where I might have played Washington because of the streak, where I am not on Washington, as you got Miles McCullough's pitching. If you win this game, I will be on Washington until they lose. St. Louis and Milwaukee, hard game here. Milwaukee 143.5. D May for St. Louis, a 5 ERA against the TBD for Milwaukee. So we got to leave this alone till we see the pitcher. Seattle and Oakland, I have nothing here. Seattle minus 123.9. Gilbert 406 for Seattle. Springs 413 for Oakland. What you gonna do? Arizona and the 49ers. Arizona is on a winning streak. Arizona's favored 126, 7.5. Soroka 327 against McDonald 491. And we'll see. The Niners, they surprise. Nothing there. Maybe an Arizona play. Philly, San Diego. Okay, here's your free play. We're taking Philly minus 153. Philly minus 153 and 7. Sanchez for Philly with a 1.62 ERA. San Diego, Ferris Bueller with a 5.09. Bueller stinks. Neither team is on a streak, but I don't care. I'm taking Philly. This is 3 units. This is your free play. Sanchez, very good, and Bueller stinks. So we're really betting against Bueller. And since we have Sanchez, had Bueller had a 2 ERA, this game would be a lock under. But as it is, we're locking Philadelphia here. Tampa Bay, Baltimore, again, no. Where's all the games on the streaks? Well, we ran into one, I think, Cleveland, Washington. Tampa, we'll go through that at the end. Baltimore, Tampa's a 108.9. Baltimore killed them yesterday. Mats, 373 for Tampa, and Bassett, a 608 for Baltimore. I don't know about an over. It looks like an over game, but I don't know. Here we go, Cubs and Pitt. Pitt minus 111.9. Talion for the Cubs, 524. Chandler, 460 for Pitt. You got to take Pitt. I mean, this is kind of like an automatic. They're on a 10-game losing streak. They got Talion on the mound. We'll take the Steelers. Lay the 460. You could go over 9, but it's a better bet to just take Pittsburgh. I mean, if this is normal, no streak, I'm probably going over because it's 9. I got a 4.6 and a 5.24 pitcher. But on a 10-game losing streak, it's not a 3 or 4, it's a 10-game. Pitt's playing well. The Cubbies can't win. I'm taking Pitt here. It's amazing how they won 2 10-game winning streaks, and now they're on a 10-game losing streak. And I'm sure there's an injury or something, but these pitchers suck, 5.24. So it's always this injury that you get that changes it. And I'm going to talk about, I was watching the 84 Bear Redskin playoff game. The Bears win, and then they go to San Francisco the next week. And then the Niners win and win the Super Bowl. But I'm going to talk about this Bear Redskin game. So go Pitt. I'll give you the second game. Go Pitt. 10-game losing streak, Cubbies. California's got Detroit. And we've got Detroit minus 121 and 7.5. Soriano, our pitcher we love, who's been kind of shaky the last couple of starts. 2.45 against Casey Mize, 2.51 for Detroit. Again, California is on the winning streak. And again, I refer to, so the people who I've emailed the picks to who have bought, it'll say Cal, and you're going to go, who's Cal? This is Cal, the California Angels, Rod Carew, Reggie Jackson. That's California. To me, you can't call them the LA Angels. LA's the Dodgers. California Angels is California. Enough with this changing the name bullshit when they don't move. So this should be California. Again, Mize, good pitcher, so it's not that easy. Probably a low scoring. Atlanta, Boston. Okay, Boston is on a losing streak. Atlanta minus 102, Boston minus 106. Total of 8.5. Elder 199 for Atlanta and early 333 for Boston. Cincinnati and the Mets. The Mets are on a losing streak. We've got the Mets minus 115 and 8. Abbott with the 402 for Cincinnati against Brazobin, who is a reliever with a 6.0 ERA for that. So, again, the Mets are on the losing streak. We got Minnesota and the White Sox. Nothing here. We got the White Sox minus 122 and 8. We've got Prelip for Minnesota, 403 ERA against Dean Martin. Yes, that Dean Martin, the drunk from the Rat Pack, 207 ERA. And then we've got the Yankees, KC. The Yankees are on like a 3-game winning streak. That doesn't qualify. Yankees minus 149 and 9. We got Cole, who does he have a 0? He did pitch. Yeah, he's got a 0. He pitched 6 innings his first game back from rehab. So he's okay. He'll probably go 6 today. Kansas City, Cameron with the 4.79. So I think is a big edge for the Yankees. Houston, Texas, nothing there. We've got Texas minus 157.5. Burrows 5.79 for Houston. DeGrom. I would be all over DeGrom here, but his ERA is like 4 right now. So it's not the same DeGrom with the 1.5 ERA. So I don't know what to tell you about that. Normally it's be an easy Texas play. DeGrom against the 5.79 ERA. But he's not the same. Colorado and the Dodgers. Colorado losing. The Dodgers are on a win streak. Now, here's the problem. While we do love LA, do you want to lay 405, with Shotani? So you got Shigano with the 4 ERA against Shotani with the 0.73. So this is why it's not a free play, because it's a 4-0. You're allowed to like 400 to win 100. Yeah, Shotani's okay. Shigano, not great. Colorado's been playing better. It's just too much. 4-0, you lose this game, but to me, I mean, the most I'll go, I think I've done 300 once, but normally in the 2s, and that's when I got Skeins on the mound. So I don't know what to tell you with Shotani. It's not even that. I don't know what to tell you with the 4 ERA. It's just too much. So that's why it's not the free play. Although, I mean, if you want to bet it, but I don't know how perfect it is, because Shigano's got a 3.91 ERA. It's not like he's got a 6. If he was going against Burrows at Houston with the 5.79, yeah, we would take the Dodgers. But Shigano could win with the 3.91. And Shotani's not Mr. Perfect. Kurt Hennig. With the good ERA, but this is way overvalued. This is Alabama, Notre Dame. This is Notre Dame should be a 7-point favorite. It's a 14-point favorite. So this should be at the most like minus 275, minus 400. So the Dodgers should win, but it's a big number. So I'll leave that to you. And that's baseball. So your free play, Philly, 3 units, and then I gave you Pitt only because the Cubs are on the 10-game losing streak. So let's look at games with the trends. So California playing Detroit. So California's on the winning streak. Detroit, just pathetic. So that's a California play, but it's Casey Mize with the 251, so it kind of canceled that. Again, just because they're on a winning or losing streak doesn't mean it's an automatic play. Now, if California wins today, then we're taking them tomorrow. But Mize, he's okay. I think California will win, but you got to be careful. Washington plays Cleveland. And again, this is a tough one because Washington's on the streak was 4 games. Miles McCullough with an 8.28 goes against Grant Williams 3.26. I'm not going to play Washington here, even though they're on the streak. LA, we've talked about with Shotani. And Arizona, Arizona's at the 49ers, and they're 126, 7.5. You got Sirocco 3.27 against Tim McDonald 4.91. So this is you could play Arizona there. That's probably the only streak play that makes sense right now. Betting against Boston, you got Atlanta. Boston's actually favored in 8.5, and Elder with the 1.99 against Early with the 3.33. Atlanta, I mean, they both seem to hit pretty well yesterday. I don't think Boston's going to hit Elder all that well. So I could see Boston falling here, and it's good. You've got Boston's the favorite in the game. The Mets, well, the Cubbies, we got Pitt. That's already given. The Mets are against Cincinnati. Yesterday we had Cincinnati. Today, Abbott with a 4.02, Brazoban with a 6. So it's probably another Cincinnati play. Total on the game's 8, I think, is very low also. And then Colorado plays the Dodgers, so they're on the losing streak. So that's what you have. So the streak, I didn't just blindly take Washington because I don't like them today. Again, if I don't know they're on the streak, the play's Cleveland, just based on the pitchers. If I just play the streak, I bet Washington. The same thing with California and Detroit. 2.5 ERA pitchers going. I love the Soriano kid. And Casey Mize is not playing bad. Probably an under because the Tigers can't hit. The Tigers can't hit, and who are they playing? California. So California's not a great hitting team either. So kind of weak hitting against really good pitching. So it becomes more of, do I play the total versus just playing California on the streak? So I didn't like losing on 523. There was 5 streaks broke, and I lost 5 units, and I don't like losing, and I lost just because I played the streak. So I think when there are 3, 4, 5 games, and I'm noting most of these streaks are 4 games, I'm not betting the streak because of the streak. The Cubbies, on the other hand, once we hit 5, 6 games, we've got Houston last weekend and won every game, and now we're on Pitt, and we won so far. I don't know if we won. I think we won Tuesday. Well, let's see. Yeah, we won Pitt on the 25th. We won Pitt on the 26th, and now we go with Pitt on the 27th. So Houston beat them all 4, and now Pitt's beating them. Then it's a blind thing. Now, if they have a great pitcher with a 1.0 ERA, we're going to be careful. But as long as their pitching is their problem. So be careful on the streaks, unless it's like the Cubs, where we had Milwaukee last year winning 15, 16 in a row. Once you see like something about get to about 6, then it's an automatic play. 3 and 4 and 5, we got to see the pitchers because it's a 5-man rotation. So you're looking when the ace loses. then you want to go. But otherwise, you really got to be careful. But then once it hits like the Cubbies, it doesn't matter who's pitching. We're betting the Pirates today. We bet the Pirates yesterday, and now it's 10 games. So we've won 6 games betting against the Cubs. So if we lose tonight, and I hope we don't, you've only lost 1 game. That's how you got to look at the big streak picture. Well, we won 6 times betting against them, so we're gonna keep going until they lose. But the other ones, I don't think these 4-game streaks, I just don't like. Like some of these, man, like Casey Mize for Detroit, you could win, he could shut them out, and you don't want to lose going against the Mize. Or again, we should play the Dodgers, but now you're laying 405 with Shotani. That's like that time that spread was 16, and we bet under the 16. We won the first game and lost the second game. They gave up 10 runs in the last 2 innings to get to 20. It was unbelievable. So that's really what you're looking at. You're really looking. It's always about the pitcher. You're waiting if a guy, Bryce Harper gets hurt. Okay, you got to be careful. If Aaron Judge gets hurt, we're probably betting the under on the Yankees. Stanton's been hurt. That's hurt them. Stanton always gets hurt. He's too big. You can't have big muscles in golf and in baseball and in basketball. You need the thin muscles, sort of like me. I'm not big, bulky, but I'm more flexible that way. It's better for sports. You want to play tennis or racquetball or golf or baseball. You don't want Arnold Schwarzenegger. That's why you never see Arnold Schwarzenegger on the golf course. You do see that Brooks Koepka, and I don't know what he's doing. You cannot play golf, big ball, and he got hurt, of course, because his muscles they're not made for golf. It's the, Lee Trevino, Tom Watson, Jack Nicklaus. They weren't Arnold Schwarzenegger. Jack had big thighs. He had big legs, but, that's why he was so good. Tiger, I thought, was ridiculous to get bulked up. That's not golf. And Rory got bulked up. He couldn't win anything. Now Rory's much thinner, and he's winning again. You've got to have fast, flexible muscles, not strong ones. All right, so that's baseball. Free pick Philadelphia, and we'll give you Pittsburgh, only because the Cubs are on a 10-game losing streak. That if you don't bet against the Cubs today, then don't bet. I mean, that's basically it. If you were to not bet against the Cubs today, you shouldn't be betting. It's just not, and the pitching matchups there. All right, no basketball today. Tomorrow we're taking Santa Anita or San Antonio. We did hit Oklahoma yesterday, finally hitting that series. The Knicks, we won all 4 games, so we'll wait. We'll see what happens. The Knicks have won, 11, 12 in a row. They swept Philly, and they swept that. And after watching Boston, they stink. I don't know how anybody thinks they're any good. They just stand around, take 3-point shots. If they get hot, they win. If they get cold, they lose. That's how Orlando blew the 20-point lead against the Pistons. They come out taking 3-point shots. Really? And the coach didn't get fired after that crap? All right. We did talk NFL schedules. If anybody wants me to repeat, I can certainly go through some of the teams. We did go through Kansas City, Oakland, I think Denver. We went through the Lions. We went through the Bears. We can go through them again if you'd like. With all the change, you have 10 new coaches, so we can't just bet Baltimore and Buffalo the way we were. We got Harbaugh at New York. Well, how do we bet New York? I mean, it's very hard to bet them. I think Harbaugh is a lousy coach. Never should have had Lamar as quarterback. He's got Scatterboo back will help, and the receiver will help. But the quarterback, Dart, He's injury prone. He's a running quarterback. I don't know that he's really going to be any good. I'm still don't think he's all that. He ran a lot at Ole Miss. So another case of a running quarterback who knows. I get an email from, I think the guy's name is Paul, one of our students. And he keeps saying, don't believe everything and, look at it. And, one thing I don't is just believe everything. I question everything. That's how you find things out. Does it make sense? So really what's behind this war, is it really the high, is it to create high gas prices? Why won't Trump stop? He clearly can't want high gas prices. He's selling his inventory of U.S. oil, but that, I guess, lasts till July, and then we're all fucked here. But the prices have kind of went down. I saw 429 yesterday. So it had jumped to 5, and then it's slowly 470, 450. Now it's pretty much 420. He can control that as much as, again, it's just the money printing. Nobody really talks about that the money's worthless. Again, they don't want to admit. They don't want to admit that they're paying down debt with worthless money. That's why they can't tell you. They can't say, yeah, our money's worthless. Your paychecks are worthless. But you can use the money to go to the grocery store. They'll still accept it because we force them to. So really, that's kind of what you've got, is they can't tell you the money's worthless. I can tell you the money's worthless. You understand if you keep printing the money to death, it becomes worthless. So you understand why it's worthless. And that's the big trigger that most people can't explain. So in the email, he says, well, don't trust this and don't. And I get it, but I don't. I know what's really going on. If I don't, I try to find out. Like I said to the guy in the interview, do you know why gold's at 2,500? He said no, and I was ready to get up and leave. Well, then you're an idiot for not. Why don't you think about that? Why don't you work? Oh, because you don't know, because you think your money's good in the stock market, because you think the dollar is good. I'm sure they thought their dollar was good in Rome when they took all the gold and silver out of it. I am sure in France and England and Spain and in the Dutch East India Trading Company thought their dollars were good also. But if it's not backed by anything, it really, from the moment it's printed, if it's not backed by anything, it's worthless. They just keep printing more and more because they keep adding expenses. Oh, we'll just print more money. Otherwise, why do all these other countries go out? Why did France in the late 1790s, Britain flooded the market with fake French francs? Say that 3 times fast. Why did the French franc fail? Why did Napoleon go to Waterloo? He needed oil. Everybody goes to Russia for their oil and natural resources, probably their gold and silver. That's the one thing Russia has. And so why did Napoleon fight? Because he was broke. Because England flooded the market with French francs, and the French franc was worthless, and they needed wheelbarrows there too, probably. That's why you had the whole French Revolution. That's why you had Les Miserables. See, you created a play by going bankrupt. So it always happened. Why, but why? I mean, I'm sure the French franc was the reserve currency of the world. You had Napoleon, yet it went out. And that's the point. That's why the revolution, the money was worthless. They couldn't feed themselves. That's the problem. That's when you get revolutions. I can't feed myself. I'm going down. I'm not going down without a fight. And it happened in Britain in 1920 something, when they needed money for the war. Maybe in the 30s. By 1945, there was no power. We took over. Just because you're the reserve currency doesn't mean you can't print it to death and it goes to zero. So keep that in mind. But they can't, if they tell you what's going to happen? You're going to have riots. What the hell did you do to my money? Well, it wasn't us. It was Putin. It was because of the Ukraine war. We had to print more money, or whatever their excuse is going to be of why the money's worthless. But the money is worthless. So you already understand it. Why? Because it's printed to death. Because if it's not backed by anything, you can't print it. Which is our whole Bitcoin and stock discussion. If everything's backed by dollars and the dollar's worthless, therefore, that's worthless. Your house is worthless in dollars, but not worthless. Bitcoin is worthless in dollars, but since Bitcoin's not real, it can't be, what are you going to price it in? You can't price it in gold because nobody will want a Bitcoin with gold. Like, I want a house with gold. I'll want a mantle card with gold. A Rolex I'll want with gold. Do I want a Bitcoin with gold? Not a chance. I would never give gold for a Bitcoin. I don't care if it was a tenth of an ounce for Bitcoin. I wouldn't waste my gold on that. And again, once you get rid of the gold, it's going to be very hard to get it back. Fortunately, right now, they're still taking monopoly money to buy the gold because they don't know what's going on. I go there and laugh when I tell him, I said, "Are you still taking dollars?" And he looks at me like, "Why are you asking that question?" But it doesn't matter. He needs the dollars to pay the rent and to pay his employees. So as long as the dollars used, he'll take dollars because he needs them to pay all his expenses. So again, it's a swap. I'm going to trade you dollars for gold, and then you're going to use the dollars to pay your expenses. That's why they don't take Bitcoin. What am I going to do with Bitcoin? I can't pay my expenses in Bitcoin. The only way I can do it is to sell the Bitcoin and get the dollars for them, so I can pay payroll and I can pay rent and utilities and the safe and all the other stuff they have in there. So keep that in mind. So it's very tricky, but I do understand it. So if you're in an interview and you ask the guy and he doesn't understand, means he's not capable of critical thinking, and therefore your company's going to fail. He's not very intelligent. So why would you want to work for an idiot? And this would have been the director of finance or whatever. Why would I want to work for this? He didn't know what a budget was or costing. I mean, this was the only interview I've ever been at where the guy asked me, "How do you do a budget?" I'm like, and I'm thinking, do you not know? I didn't say it because it's an interview, but I thought it. What do you mean, how do you do a budget? I did budgets for 4 years at Mercedes. You don't need to ask me. If you don't believe the resume, call my boss at Mercedes. But it's not something you fake on a resume. Yeah, I worked 4 years at Mercedes, did budgets and forecasts, and I don't know how to do it. That's insulting. People like that you don't want to work for. So anyway, that's what happened. So again, if they don't critically think these things, then what's the point? And that's what we do. We think about it. So that's why I just don't believe anything. I'm wondering really what's this war with Iran about? Is it to get the gold price down by having higher oil prices? But I doubt that you could have imagined that the higher oil price would lead to that. I don't think they imagined the war would go on more than 2 or 3 days. We'll take out the Iranian leader and replace them, and we'll get their oil. I think that was the game plan. And when the Iranians didn't collapse after 2 or 3 days, then they were like, "Oh shit!" And by the way, Israel runs the U.S., so it's not even in Trump's hands. And you would wonder why they're not taking out the Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu. If he's directing everything, why aren't they taking him out? All right. So I've been watching. I highly recommend this game. So this is the 1984 NFC divisional game. The Bears and the Redskins. If you want to watch a good game and learn a lot, watch this game. You got Theismann. McMahon was hurt as usual. That was the problem with McMahon. He'd get hurt all the time, but he was a great quarterback when he played. So you got Steve Fuller, who was the Clemson quarterback when they won the title in 1979, I believe. I remember I was working at the grocery store and I'm betting football because I started at 10 years old. And my buddies would want my picks. And at that point, I was just giving them to my buddies. So I kept saying, bet Clemson. Nobody's ever heard of Clemson. They don't even know where it is, what it is. Take Clemson, lay the 3. And they would win every game. Clemson was like undefeated, won the national title, and Steve Fuller was the quarterback. But they won every game. And we finally look, oh, they're in South Carolina. They're in the ACC. Nobody had a clue who Clemson was yet. We'd bet them every week, and we won with them every week, and nobody cared. It's a lot like Bitcoin. It's a lot like playing these top 5 or 6 stocks or Madoff. Well, I don't know, but I keep making money, and that's what Madoff is. I don't know how he's doing it, but I know I keep getting 1% a month, and he keeps making me money, and I don't care how he does it. That's what Clemson was. We don't know. We don't even know what conference they're in. We don't know anything, but what we do know is we bet them every week and they win. And that's me being me. I find Clemson. Don't ask me how I found them. And I just probably looked at the trends, and they were 3-0, and I'm like, who the hell? And then I'm looking at the quarterback. He looked good. And they won and they won the national title. I think they beat Nebraska in the title game, and they won that. Anyway, so he's the quarterback for the Bears. Now, when I first turned the game on, you've got the 84 Bear defense, which turned into the 85 Bear defense, which was basically the number 1 defense in the league. You couldn't barely score on them. You could barely move on them. Good offensive line. Walter Payton, oh yeah, by the way, and the Bears. And then you had the Redskins, who had been to the Super Bowl 2 times in a row. Does this remind you of the 74 Raider Dolphin game? This is exactly the same game, only this is 1984. So you have the Redskins who beat Miami in the Super Bowl and they got killed by the Raiders, trying to get back for the 3rd time to the Super Bowl, going against the Bears, who are coming up, who are going to go to the Super Bowl in 85. You've got 2 strong defenses, Richard Dent and all those guys, in Washington with Dexter Manley and those guys. The Hogs, a couple of the Hogs were injured. As good as the Hogs were, Richard Dent made them look silly in the game. So you get to the game, and the Bears are like trick playing them. Walter Payton throws a touchdown on a halfback pass. Another throw to Willie Gall, who breaks open and is gone. And I'll tell you, Darrell Green was the only guy I've ever seen to keep up with Willie Gall. They both had really good. Willie Gall was a 4.17 receiver, and Darrell Green was able to keep up with him. So he must have been a 4.2 40 guy also. Terrific matchup. In the end of the day, the game, the Bears win, and they win 23-19. It's 23-17, and the Bears take a safety because they keep kicking from their own 10-yard line. The guy can't get it past midfield. So finally they take the safety so they can punt it from the 20, and the guy gets it to the 40 of the Redskins. The guy returns it 20 yards to the 40. And so the whole game's played on the Bears side of the field in the 4th quarter. And it's 23-19 at the end. The Bears, the Redskins went for 4th down once, but most of the time at the 40, the Redskins were punting it inside the 10, and same thing with the Bears. Even with Walter Payton, they very rarely went for fourth down. They just kept going. Funny how, yeah, they don't go for fourth and ones against those defense. You're going to go for a fourth and one against the 84, 85 Bears? Are you insane? And the odds on doing it are probably zero. Yeah, that's what I thought about the Lions coach. Yeah, you're going to go fourth down against this Bear defense. Anyway, great game, 23-19. The Bears win. I said to go under, but I don't know what the spread was. When I saw the game and there's no McMahon and the Bears are the Bear defense, the 84 defense, the Redskins good, even with Joe Theismann, I said this is an under because the Bears don't have their McMahon, and that McMahon plays, it's an over. Anyway, so you have I don't know what the spread was. I can look it up just for shits and giggles, but I would have bet it under, and it would have been a teaser. And I don't know if I would have taken the Bears. Let's say Washington was 3-point favorite. Let's say it was 343. So I would have not played the Bears because of the quarterback. I would have played the under in the game, under 49, and that would have been an easy one. But that's how you play the under. The Bears with the best defense in 50 years, and Walter Payton running, and then you got the Redskins with the great defense of their own and good offense, and Joe Theismann and Art Monk. Not a big running attack. John Riggins. But a great game. So it ended the Redskins dynasty for temporarily. So they had gone to the Super Bowl in 82, and they had gone in 83, and then the Niners 84, the Bears 85, the Giants 86, the Redskins come back in 87. And they killed Denver. Everybody killed Denver. What's good about Joe Gibbs, he won with Theismann. Then he won with, what's his name? I just knew it. Doug Williams. So he wins with Doug Williams. Then he wins with Jay Schrader or somebody like that. And then he goes and beats Buffalo. I think he was the first team to beat. Did they beat Buffalo? Maybe they beat San Diego. Anyway, they had won 3 Super Bowls. So they beat Miami, then they beat Denver. But I thought they won again with like Jay Schrader or somebody like that, a 3rd Super Bowl. Like 91 or something. And then, they won in 91 because they killed the Lions in the championship game. That was Jimmy Johnson growing. Detroit beat them with Barry Sanders. And then Washington kills Detroit, and then Washington wins the Super Bowl. I think they beat Buffalo, and then the Giants beat Buffalo on the wide kick, and then Dallas beat Buffalo twice. So Washington, they beat Denver, they beat Buffalo, and they beat Miami, and they lose to the Raiders. So they're at 3 Super Bowls there. The Niners win 5 Super Bowls. The Bears only win 1. The Giants win 2. I mean, look at that domination by the NFC there. But in 84, the Niners beat Lawrence Taylor. They beat the Giants pretty good, 21-10 or something like that. And then the Niners beat this great Bear defense like 24-0. And you watch this Redskin game with Theismann having, he got sacked like 10 times. Richard Dent had 3 or 4 sacks on him. That was the one area that I noticed the Redskins' problem with the great offensive line is they couldn't handle this Bear defensive line. Steve McMichael and the guy from Arkansas, and Richard Dent, and then they 46 them, and then Doug Plank would come in. And it was just the Bears' defense has dominated the game like the Redskins were never dominated. I mean, Theismann, they take over at the 40, at the Bear 40, and they punt from their own 45. Dent just sacked the hell out of Theismann. You get sacked. You take Riggins out of the game because you're down. It was 23-10 or something. Then it went 23-17 and then 23-19. But it was Riggins out of the game. Theismann has to pass, and Richard Dent just teed off. And, McMichael, the guy from Arkansas, Singletary playing, all these guys, all these great players. And then you watch the game and you're like, how the fuck did the Niners beat the Bears 23-0? And that's how good Joe Montana is. But they shut out the Bears with Walter Payton. And so you really analyze it and you say, it's the defense. It's the defense. It's putting pressure. Riggins couldn't really run on the Bears. He did a little bit. That was the only way you could beat them is quick passes and a guy like Riggins who can run on them. Then you had the Niners. They had Roger Craig at that time. They didn't have Jerry Rice. They beat him with Dwight Clark, Freddie Solomon. That's how good Joe Montana is. Dwight Clark was good. Freddie Solomon. And they did have Russ Francis on the team. He was all pro. So that's what's amazing about the Niners. After watching this Bears destroy the Redskins, who had gone to 2 straight Super Bowls, and then you get them against the Niners. Now, it was trick plays. There was a halfback pass, and there was that Willie Gault, 80-yard pass where he got by. Darryl Green fell down and was gone. But the Niners just kill him 23-0. And they kill Montana. They kill Marino. And that's how good the Niners were. That's how good the league is. But that's how you win these games. You've got to have this good quarterback. You've got to have this killer defense. This is why when I bitch at the Lions and I bitch at these other teams, who wins? Oh yeah, the Eagles with the number 1 defense. Kansas City with the great defense. Baltimore Ravens with Ray Lewis. The Steelers when they had their great defense, not including the 70 Steeler defense and the 60 Packer defense. Common denominator: the team with this great defense wins. So now all these teams trying to get a good offense, and you're just sitting there going, "What's the point?" The Lions, they got this great. What are they going to do against the 84 Bears, 85 Bears, even the 84 Niners? Lawrence Taylor, this Redskin defense, which was very talented. What are you going to do? This is why Buffalo never won the Super Bowl. They didn't have a defense. This is why Dan Fouts and Dan Marino never won. Never had that number 1 defense. That's why the defense is critical. The defense wins. You bet the defense. The 84 Bear defense, which is number 1, which is just as good as the 85, of course. You're not moving on that team. So a guy like Theismann, who couldn't do shit on that team, would have been a great Super Bowl. Chicago and Oakland didn't happen. The Steelers were gone by then, unfortunately. That would have been a great Super Bowl. Do you imagine the 85 Bears going against the 78 Steelers? Holy shit. They'd have destroyed the Cowboys. They wouldn't have had a chance. But that's where the eras kind of get caught up. But if the 85 Bears played the 74 Steelers, it would have been 3-0. Or the 75 Steelers when they beat Dallas, you wouldn't have had points. The rules changed a little, but the way the 85 Bears were, if they'd have played the 78 Steelers or the 79 Steelers, there wouldn't have been 10 points in the game. And that's really when you start looking at totals and you start understanding why you bet unders. Because when you got defenses like that, you're not fucking scoring. Joe Theismann, Art Monk, John Riggins, and they get 17 points. Now, they got into the 40s because of some trick plays by the Bears, and they had Walter Payton, by the way. You're not scoring on this team. And that 85 team, they beat New England 46-0, but New England didn't have the defense. So why did Marino never win a Super Bowl? Had never had defense. Why did Dan Fouts never had that kind of defense? Why did Montana win? Because he had Ronnie Lott and he had Fred Dean and he had this great defense. And Hacksaw Reynolds and those guys. And that's why Brady won, only when he had a great defense. That's why sometimes you don't need a quarterback like the Baltimore Ravens won with Ray Lewis and Ed Reed. Their quarterback, Trent Dilfer, sucked. Didn't matter. Just stay out of the way and you're not scoring on us. If you can hold the other team, that's how you win. That's why when I look at these games and I'm handicapping, I'm looking at the defense. And when I see the defense, I get the fuck. I don't want anything to do with the offense versus the defense. I am taking that defensive team because they can shut you down. Look at Theismann, the 80 in that game I just showed you. The whole fourth quarter, they get the ball at the Bears 40, 45-yard line, and they punt every time. The only reason they scored a touchdown was Fuller fumbled a snap, so Washington got the ball like the 20. Then Riggins ran it in. But that was it. There was no other. They start at the 40 and they get sacked. That's what the good defense does. It sacks you. You don't have time to throw. Marino doesn't have time. Look at the 49er game. In the 84 Super Bowl, the Niners were all over him, putting pressure on him, sacking him. That's the key. If I can put pressure and sack you, I don't care if you're Dan Marino or Johnny Unitas or whoever you are. You're not doing shit. That's going to be the problem with Mendoza. He doesn't have the offensive line. He's not going to have time to throw. That's why you go after Reuben Baines and you go after the Bailey from Texas Tech. You go after those guys because that's how you win. If I put pressure on you, you ain't going to do what's Lamar going to – what would Lamar have done against this 84, 85 Bear defense? Nothing. He'd have gotten sacked 15 times. He wouldn't have completed 5 passes. That's why you don't win with Lamar's. You don't win with Anthony Richardson and Daniel Joneses and Jackson Dart because I can blitz you with my good defensive line and there's nothing you can do. So what do? We look for those teams. Right now it's Philadelphia. KC seems to have a pretty good defense. Denver with a very good defense. San Diego, I'm not sure. Baltimore did not have a very good defense last year. That's why they traded for Trey Hendrickson. That's the problem with the Lions. They get Hutchinson, who's a pass rusher, but the rest of their defense sucks. Their secondary sucks. That's why you need more pass rushers. Now, you did it with Dan and Steve McMichael and, God, the Arkansas guy. That's why you don't just have Hutchinson. You draft good defense, which the Lions don't know how to do. They took a tackle out of Ohio State who sucked. They don't watch the games. If you watch the Michigan-Ohio State game, you'd realize the guy they drafted was probably their worst defensive player. He just sat there. He didn't get involved in the plays. He didn't make any tackles. Now, this year, I think they drafted the safety who was really good too early. It's hard to draft a safety. You got to go. Reuben Baines should have been the first lineman taken. That should have been the first pick. Then Oakland can grow its defense, and then they can win with Trent Dilfer. To get Mendoza does not help the defense, and that's how you win if I stop, especially in that division. I got Mahomes, I got Bo Nix, Herbert, but those two, you're not stopping those two with Mendoza. He's not as good. He's a rookie. He's not going to do anything this year. And we all know Kirk Cousins can't do anything. So that's what I learned about watching games like those is a good defensive team will destroy a good offensive team. I mean, Theismann was great in the early 80s to nothing. He'd go back 1st and 10 at the Bear 40 and need the touchdown. second and 20 from midfield, third and 25 from their own 45. And then they're throwing screen passes or something to gain 5 yards so they can punt the ball. That's the problem. The good defense will sack you, and it doesn't matter what you are or who you do or who you know. And that's the key to betting everything. We do it in baseball. We look at the pitcher. You do not hit Sandy Koufax. I watched him pitch Mickey Mantle. Great hitter. Strike one, strike two, strike three. Fastball, curveball, fastball, and Mickey was out. And a lot of players couldn't hit Koufax. You couldn't hit Bob Gibson. You couldn't hit Nolan Ryan. You couldn't hit Tom Seaver. You couldn't hit Steve Carlton. You go down the list, you couldn't hit them. They couldn't hit Vita Blue, Catfish Hunter. And that's the point. If I got a good pitcher, you can't hit him. I don't care if the guy's 300. Clemente would have a hard time hitting Koufax. Now they were both. Clemente came in, I think, in 59, Koufax 56. So I don't recall in the 1960s. I was born in 59, so I can't remember those games. But I don't know if Clemente could hit Koufax. I don't think too many could, nor could they hit Bob Gibson. Even Mickey Lolitz and Denny McClain, they had a hard time hitting. Jim Palmer, McNally, Cuellar, and Dobson, Baltimore, and then they all won 20 games. The Miracle Mets was simply Seaver, Koosman, McGraw. I don't know if it was McGraw. They had a good ace closer, but it was Koosman and Tom Seaver that won. And in the clinching game, oh yeah, Nolan Ryan came in in the sixth inning and got like 10 strikeouts. So that's how the Mets won, not because of their hitting, because they had Tom Seaver and they had Jerry Koosman and Ryan out of the bullpen, but wasn't even the closer. They didn't even use Ryan. He didn't even start one of the games in the series. So imagine who that scout is. Let's see, Tom Seaver, Jerry Koosman, Nolan Ryan. Like this scout's the greatest scout I've ever seen. But that's how they won in 69. Now Oakland beat them in 71, I think. The Mets did get back. Oakland had beat Cincinnati, the Mets, and the Dodgers. They were the best. That was the best team probably ever. But again, it's the defense, it's the pitching, the overall team. And that's what you're looking for. And when I look at baseball now, it's pathetic. These guys suck. They have no talent. I mean, you go through a lineup and there's 5-6 guys hitting under 200. What are they doing in the major leagues? So the major leagues want you to pay all this money to go to the game to watch minor league players. Basically is what it is. They do not have enough good players in baseball to fill 30 teams rosters. They clearly don't have enough good pitching. With all these guys in the bullpen, and then the way they baby them. Oh, you can only pitch 100 pitches. Oh, you're the bullpen guy. You can only pitch the 7th inning. Strikeout, strikeout, strikeout. Yeah, okay. Why don't you bring him out for the 8th and 9th innings? The guy's hot. He's striking everybody out. We can't do that because we don't have enough good bullpen. We don't have enough good pitchers to do that. So that's really what you have. But it all comes down to the dominant. What's the dominant key in sports? Football, it's that strong defense will control all games, college and pro. That's why we bet Miami. That's why we bet Ohio State. That's why we bet them under. We had Miami, Ohio State. That was a lock under. That was easy. Then Miami played Ole Miss to an over. And then Miami, Indiana was actually an over play because they had good quarterbacks. But generally, that's why I take you to Miami, Notre Dame. And Notre Dame, Love he ran for 30 yards on him. That's what he's going to get in the pros. He's going to have 30-yard days. He's not going to go for 200 yards. He's not playing Army, Navy. It's the weak Notre Dame schedule. So you drafted a guy number 4 that should have been drafted in the second round. Yeah, he looked good at Notre Dame against Army and Navy, Stanford, but not against Miami in the game they lost. He didn't 10 carries, 30 yards. So you've got to be relevant. You've got to be analyzing and going, why did they win? So when you look at that Bear-Washington game, why did the Bears win? How could the Bears win? And yet the game was at Washington, and the Bears were just starting to get the 80, the 46 defense. And, they were the number 1 defense in the league, and they go in and beat the Redskins. Now, normally they probably would have beat the Niners. They probably would have beat the next team, except for it was Joe Montana, and that's how good Joe Montana was. He beats the 84 Bear defense, which is number 1, 23-0. I mean, that just shows you Bill Walsh, Joe Montana, but yet they had Ronnie Lott and Hex Reynolds and Fred Dean and Big Hands Johnson and Louis Collins. They had all these great players, the Niners. So keep that in mind. So at the end of the day, the best coach wins. And now it's a joke watching these coaches. I got to go on 4th and 1. It's like these guys never went on 4th and 1, especially against the 84, 85 Bear defense, especially even against the Redskins defense. The Bears punted every time. There was only one time they went for 4th down. It was like near the end of the game. The Skins needed it, 4th and 1, and Riggins got the yard. But you had Riggins, right? A nice fullback who could get the yard. And he went off tackle. He didn't go into the middle. He went off tackle. Anyway, so that's what you got. So it's a great game. And then you watch the Niners play the 84 Bears, and they contained Peyton. They didn't let him get these bullshit play, halfback passes and stuff. Gout didn't get open. Ronnie Lott was all over the place, and they beat him 23-0. Montana quick passes, got the ball out, and beat him. And that's what you got. And so it was bet the defense. Look for the strong. It's easy to find. Just look at the points. We had it last year with Seattle, and that's why we bet so heavily on the under and Seattle in the Super Bowl. Seattle had the best defense. They had the running. They had the complete team. New England didn't. Their quarterback, Drake May, is way overrated. I don't know why they think he's all that. Oh, he can run a little bit. So, again, don't be fooled by that, but it's the defense. All right. The markets, the pricing, the inflation. So we know the market sets prices. We know inflation is money printing. Inflation is not prices going up. That's the market. Prices go up, prices go down. They would do that every day in the market anyway. So you see a $20 steak, it was Memorial Weekend. They can't sell it. They put it for $13.99 because they can't sell the steak because it's over market. The market won't pay for it. So what you're trying to do when you sell things is, what will the market pay for it? As I showed you my Coach watch, what will the market pay for this watch? Well, or this wallet? Duh. So that's what you're trying to decipher as you go into the market to sell your items. So we want to sell, Kleenex or a wallet or a phone. Will the market buy it? And then what will the market pay? And that's why you look at the competition. That's the beauty of the competition. If you allow it to have regular prices, which is not the case in gold and silver, but if you let it have regular prices, which is mostly the grocery stores, then you can see what it is, right? You can see, well, yeah, it works in the market. Yeah, Kellogg's is selling cornflakes, so I can go in and sell cornflakes. Yeah, there is a demand, there is a market for it. And then what can I price it for? And what can I make it for? Can I make it for enough to make profit on it? And so the market will tell you if they want it and then what they will pay for it. And this is where I get really bitchy about gold and silver, is because it's not at the market. You are not allowing the market to buy and sell gold to get to the real price. We believe the real price is higher because it's being made off down by the bullion banks. How they got involved is just more corruption. But we're not getting a fair price of gold and silver. We are getting a manipulated paper price where they manipulate the supply of 4.3 million versus a real physical supply of 200,000. If we had that and we knew it was very limited, the price would be much higher. And that's what we're waiting for. And COMEX only works if nobody asks for delivery, because they don't have that much gold and silver, but now everybody's asking for delivery. So that's why we're very confident we'll get our much higher price, because once the market gets gold and silver, they will pay more for gold and silver. And when it's limited and nobody has any, then you're going to get a bigger, then you're going to start, I'll pay more for it because it's so hard to get. So it'll be very hard to get as BRICS keeps buying more and more gold. As they buy more, there'll be less out there. So the price will go up, because as the demand, I want gold. So all these people wanting gold because they realize the dollar's worthless, but yet it's very limited, and the people with the gold aren't about to give it up. So then we get to the free market like we have at the grocery store. Will you pay $20 for a steak? And the answer is no. Oh, then we got to find the price where the market says, yeah, this is what we'll pay $13 for steaks all day. 20, no. Even hamburger, I noticed they started to inch up to $8-9 a pound. And it's just, will you pay that? And for hamburgers, it's getting tricky that you will pay for it. You can mark whatever price you want on it. Does not mean people will pay for it. The market will say, no, it's too much. And that's where you get into all this Tesla bullshit. I saw Tesla stock yesterday. It was like 450. Who the fuck would it? For what? Is there a market for electric cars? Does anybody want it? And then at what price are they willing to pay for it? And it's no, nobody wants it. And they're like $80,000, $90,000. Who's going to pay that for a car that's electric that I got to go charge every day? Yeah, maybe not in the beginning. You charge it once a week or once every couple of days, depending on how much you do it. But soon, after 5-6 months, it's got to be every day. You've got to charge it, just like our phone batteries in our computer. I'm charging my phone every day. I'm charging my computer. I can watch a couple of movies and then I got to charge it back up. Fortunately, it's a quick charge here. But that's what the market will tell you. If you leave the market alone, laissez-faire, get out of the way, government, and so the government's in the way of gold and silver. It's saying, no, we can't let that real price get out there. We got to keep the price low. That's why it's a great buying opportunity, but it's hard when you need to sell. It's not good. So that's what the market will tell you. Now, people will pay for gold $5,000, $10,000 easy, because that's really what the price is. And you really are, the purpose of buying the gold is to get out of the dollar and buy the gold and hold the gold. So you're exchanging your dollars for gold, because the dollars aren't worth anything and the gold is. And that's why you get into the gold. You'll pay whatever, because the dollar's collapsing. The dollar's worthless. So you have to get out of the dollar. And you look around and the only place to go is gold and silver. That's why you'll pay whatever for gold. Now, you might buy a quarter ounce or a half ounce as opposed to a full ounce. But the people with all these billionaires should be buying. They're buying Bitcoin. They should be buying gold. And the more that people buy, the higher the price will go, because they'll say, oh, I'm going to buy, 100 ounces of gold. And look, you can't find it, right? I can give you one or two, but I don't have 100. And then the price goes up because there's people holding it. Like I'm holding it. Yeah, I'll give you an ounce at 10,000. I'm not going to give you an ounce at 4,500. So once you hit my price level, then I'll make it available. Then it's worth my while to sell it. It's not worth my while at this price. Like I said, I got to sell. I don't know what I'm going to sell. An ounce, a half, 3/4 or something. I don't know. Um, but I need cash while cash is still in use until we get new cash, and then my gold is 10, 20,000 an ounce. Then it'll be different. So once we get it in the market, just like chocolate chip cookies and Oreos, once we get it in the market, then you're going to see a bigger price, because then the prices will be more free market. And so nobody will stop it. And so the demand will come in, the supply is very limited. The price goes up and up and up, and you'll pay it because you can't hold the dollars. So once you realize you can't hold the dollars, you got to get out of it. And that's what will happen. So that's where we're headed for. That's why I'm so, adamant about buying it. The market price will be much higher than 4,500. And people are like, well, it's so expensive. It's not expensive. It's been price manipulated down. So you think, oh, 5,000 is too expensive. Or I love when they say it's in a bubble. How can it be in a bubble? You don't even have a real price on it yet. There is no physical price on it. How can it possibly be in a bubble? A bubble, as I said, is Nvidia, which is short for India, I think. Their stock's like, I don't know, let's say it's 250. But what's the value of the company? Yeah, probably about 80. But the value of the company is 80 and it's selling for 250. That's a bubble, because the stock price is much higher than the real physical price of the company. That's a bubble. It's gone too high. Gold is not at a bubble, because we don't even know what the real price of gold is. Well, gold can never be in a bubble. It's going to get bought because it's needed. It's the only choice. And you've got a billion people needing to buy it, and most of them don't realize they need to buy it. So once they realize they need to get out of the dollar, now some are in Bitcoin until that collapses, when the dollar collapses. But again, what can you use Bitcoin for? Can you go to the Kroger's with the Bitcoin and say, hey, but you will be able to go with silver. That's the thing. You took your wheelbarrow to the general market in Germany in the 20s. You needed a wheelbarrow to get milk and cheese. However, if you had gold or silver, you could give it to the grocer and get. So if you gave him an ounce of silver, you could fill your cart up. Same thing with your house. You could buy the house with the gold. You couldn't use it to buy the monopoly money, the Reichsmarks. So keep that in mind. So that's really what the market tells you, is how much can I charge for this? What will the people pay? That's what the market tells you. What will the people pay for any item? And it's chocolate's this, and bread's that, and milk's that, and gold and silver are also in the market, as is oil. You go to the gas station, people are paying, the price is coming down. But is it real? No, they're probably not real prices. They're controlled, again, by COMEX. So this is where we like COMEX, because we're not trying to sell oil. We're trying to buy for the car. But that's what COMEX, but the gold and silver, it's good to buy, but when we want to sell it, it's not. And again, just be paid. So I'm only going to sell maybe an ounce, get enough money for a year to have, and then gives me a year until the gold price hits the $8,000, $9,000, $10,000. So they can manipulate it for a while, but that's it, because people want physical. And COMEX doesn't have it, and eventually they're going to break, and eventually the price will just jump, as we saw when it hit 5,500. But it's all what the market, which is us, are willing to pay for things. And the perception is how good it is or how bad it is. This is the problem with football. The perception is Mendoza will make the Raiders a good team, and he won't. Not right away. They need a good defense. Start with the defense. That's how you build a team, and then you could get anybody to quarterback it. Now, if you're lucky enough, Joe Montana came in the third round. He's too small. He doesn't have big enough arm strength. Well, he did at Notre Dame. What are you talking about? And he seemed to do it at the 49ers. He wasn't too small, and he had plenty of arm strength. So what are these guys? They try to hurt the value of these. Dagio Pava will be a great quarterback in the NFL, but nobody will take him because he's too short. He's 5'10". Steve Young's 5'10", and Kyler Murray's 5'10". They're doing okay. They're hurt a lot, but Pavio is very solid, and he's a very good quarter, very accurate passer, good arm. What the fuck are you talking about? But nobody wanted to draft him or even free agent him. Baltimore was smart. Now he's better than Lamar as a quarterback. I'm telling you that right now, based on what I saw him at New Mexico State, at Vanderbilt, beating Alabama, and winning with a team, a Vanderbilt team, right? He won with Vanderbilt, for Christ's sake. Not like he went to Alabama and Ohio State and won. God forbid they were smart enough to draft him or to recruit him. Can you imagine Daggio and Ohio State? They would have won four national titles. But again, why are you devaluing him because his height? You're devaluing Ruben Bain because you come up with he's got short arms. Like that short arms is a problem. Like height is a problem. It's the heart. It's the brain. That's the keys to anything. Football, baseball, golf, it doesn't matter. It's your heart and your brain. How intelligent are you? The smartest guy's the winner. Not the biggest, not the fastest. So this is what you have. And this is like teams like the Lions just never learn. They get a Barry Sanders, no defense. They get a Calvin Johnson, no defense. Stafford, no defense. Jared Goff, who sucks, no defense. And then they get a guy like Hutchinson, but he breaks his leg. He's not the same. You cannot break your leg and think everything's the same. So they should have traded him, not pay him $40 million and kill you getting from other players. And you need more defense. You need a defensive line you don't have. You need linebackers you don't have. And you need secondary, which you don't have. Hutchinson didn't do anything last year, and he's not going to do anything this year because he's not that good now with his broken leg. And he got his money, so he's not even going to try. You can't pay a guy $40 million and expect him to try. He has no reason to. I got $40 million. I just don't want to get hurt. When I'm old, I want to be able to walk. I mean, that's basically what he thinks. These guys get paid way too much, but the irony is they're getting paid in dollars, which are worthless. But you think they understand that? No. So they don't understand they're getting paid in nothing. I was pretty adamant with Bobby. He should fire his agent because everybody thinks he did good. So the $1 million he got this year is worth maybe 10,000. Right? If 100,000 is worth 1,000, so his million's worth 10 grand. And what he should be doing is buying gold and silver with the $1 million. If he got his $1 million, paid his taxes, and the rest he bought gold and silver, that's okay. See, that's the smart move. We were talking about that yesterday. To quit a winner, to win, to actually your stock's at 100 and went to 500. Did you make any money? Not until you sold. If you didn't sell it, you didn't make any money. So making money means you bought it for 50, you sold it for 100, you made money. Buying it for 50 and holding it, it's at 300. You didn't make any money. You didn't sell it. You didn't complete it. You didn't go buy and sell something. And until you do that, you're pretty fucked. So, I made all this money in Bitcoin. You didn't make anything. You didn't sell it. You've got to sell it. So anyway, that's the market. The inflation is the money printing, creating the value of the dollar to go to zero. So you want to hold a bunch of money worthless? Well, it's in stocks. It's in money. It's priced in dollars. It's worthless. Well, it's Bitcoin. It's not money. What's it priced in? Dollars. So yeah, you're in dollars. You're fucked. There's nothing you can say or do to convince me that you didn't make any money because you're still in Bitcoin and you're in dollars, which aren't worth anything. So you haven't done anything, but you don't want to admit it. You want to, oh, it's going to go up. The Bitcoin will go up. I don't care what the Bitcoin or the stocks do. They're priced in dollars. Look at Trump. He raises the stock market to 50,000. He's the one printing money, putting it in. So where is he? He's printing money for the month end for the Social Security and the government workers and the defense contractors and the interest. Then he's printing money to keep the oil price down, and then he's printing money to keep the stock market high. Where are you getting all this money from? Well, I just print it. Right? I can just keep printing it. It doesn't have a value. And that's where people are going to get burned. They don't understand that the money has no value. Well, it's money. It's got 100 on it and some president. So what do you mean? It's worth 100. But 100 isn't worth anything. And that's really the key to my entire thesis. The money is not worth anything because it's printed and printed and printed to death. That's what kills your money. Go to the grocery store, buy a Coke, it's $3. Go back a few years, it was 99 cents. Go back a few years, it was 25 cents. I mean, that's the problem with it. That's where the value, you're losing value in the money. It takes more dollars to buy something. But the market sets the prices. So you want to make steaks, New York strips, $50 a pound, you're not going to sell any. I don't care what the inflation says. You have to understand the market. Is there demand for the product? And at what point can I sell it that the market will buy it? And if you don't understand those two things, you can't be in business. So be careful with the stocks. Most of the stock, like NVIDIA, oh, it's AI. How are you going to make money in AI? People will buy the AI. Oh, really? And how is that going to help the business? Well, they can lay off people. It's not going to help the business financially. I mean, the only thing it'll help the business is the business will lay off employees, but that's not productive. AI doesn't get paid. AI is not going to buy your product. AI can't buy Coca-Cola and hamburgers and chicken because AI is not real. They don't get paid, so they can't buy. So AI is really a very bad thing. Why do you want to get rid of your employees? Well, I'll save money. Well, money's not worth anything anyway. All you're doing is cutting Joe and Bill and Fred off your payroll, and you're going to add AI people who are going to have to verify that the AI is correct. AI can't solve problems. AI can't look at the Washington-Chicago game and come out with the decisive that it's a defensive is the key to everything. AI will never figure that out. Does AI look at the Cubs 10-game losing streak and go, oh, let's bet against the Cubs today? No. AI will just look at the numbers and come up with whatever. AI is not good. You cannot gamble with AI. You can't use it to predict anything. It's not, you have no idea if it's working. You have no idea what my actual expenses are. How am I doing versus budget? It's good for that. Your budget's 100 million. You're at 80 million. You're 20 million. Good. That's what AI will do. Well, why AI? Oh, I don't know. It's just the way, you'll have to call somebody. I can't answer that question. You'll never be able to answer the question because it's always going to change. So NVIDIA is at this big stock value that is not real, but it doesn't produce a product. What will the market pay? The market ain't paying anything for AI. These companies are buying it, supposedly, which I don't believe. But I think this is how stupid companies are now. The CEOs are idiots. CFOs are idiots. So they will buy whatever. Look what's happening in Vegas. The guy wants to charge more for resort fees and parking and food and drink. Let's raise the prices. Then we'll make more money. No, the market will not agree with you. The market's saying, hey, I get free drinks and I get $2 lobsters and I'm going to go play blackjack. Is there a market for these nightclubs and these bars? Oh, let's pay $200 for a bottle of wine. Is there really a market for that? No. So a lot of that's just bullshit. Oh, we don't care about gamblers. We just want people to come and go to the bar or go to the nightclub or whatever you call it. I'm a gambler. I want to go to gamble. Well, sorry, we don't, we're not really interested in gambling. We're only Las Vegas. It's just the stupidest thing I've ever seen. What these CEOs and CFOs are doing. They are clueless. They don't know what they're doing. People are jumping on Bitcoin. They have no idea what it is. It's going to go up. I'll never sell it. You'll never make money either. And you instead of buying gold real cheap now, you're not. What are you doing? You're in your gold. You're in your Bitcoin, but you're not selling your Bitcoin. And Bitcoin goes from 120 to 65. Did you sell it? Or, well, it can't go down. Well, it just went down $65 or $55,000. What do you mean it won't go down? It just did. And it went up to 80, and now it's back into the 70s. It'll be back in the 60s. And again, it's being controlled by Trump and Larry Fink and all these ETFs. So once the ETFs are in it, you're really fucked. Now it's totally controlled. But there's no benefit for it. Nobody wants it because there's no benefit to holding Bitcoin. So if I'm the barbecue place, am I going to put the ribs at a Bitcoin? $45 a Bitcoin for the ribs. What are you going to do with the Bitcoin? Nothing. I can't do anything with it. I can't pay my employees or my rent, buy my food. Can't do anything with it. Silver, I can go and exchange it for money at the bank very easily, so I will do that. My guy loves it. He would take my silver for food in a heartbeat. Bitcoin, not a chance. Nobody knows what it is. Nobody trusts the price. Therefore, it serves no value if you're trying to pay for food with it or clothes. Nobody values it, but they all value gold and silver. So if you're in Bitcoin to get out of the dollar and you're not buying gold and silver, you have no chance. You're done. You're toast. Because it's priced in dollars, you're fucked. Because the dollar's worthless. So now you got Bitcoin that's worthless. So the price won't drop, but the value will be zero. So the price will just end up at zero. And you're fucked. I'm not saying this because I'm anti-Bitcoin. I just see what the markets are. I understand what the markets are, and I understand Bitcoin is not real and gold is. It's as simple as that. Gold has value because it's gold. Bitcoin does not have value because it's Bitcoin. So when the dollar goes out of gold, when the dollar collapses, gold goes up 50 times. Bitcoin, nothing, because Bitcoin, what's it going to be priced in? So that's really what you're looking at. Anyway, your free pick today, the Phillies and the Pirates again. And basketball, we hit Oklahoma yesterday, and we'll probably take San Antonio tomorrow in a must-win. Your gold price. Let's see what that is. Current gold price. At 12:30, we've got gold at 44.46. Surprise it's not back at 5,000, but okay, it's the oil, maybe, and the silver 70, roughly 75. So it's roughly where it started, 74.82, 44.50. So in 2 hours, we haven't had any price movements. I don't even want to look at the Dow. How it got to 50,000 is a joke. Like the economy's good. Don't ever believe the economy is good, especially if they're replacing you with AI. Hurts the economy. It doesn't help the economy. the company will save money by not in payroll, but they won't get any benefit from it. Their productivity will not go up because of AI, because I can set up spreadsheets in Excel, download my SAP ledger, and have it all automated. I'm not getting any benefit from AI. Plus, AI won't create any new analytical things. It won't be able to think the way I think. So getting rid of me and replacing me with AI is not adding any benefit to the company. It's hurting the company. Oh, but I won't have to pay. Well, you do need employees. Are these people this stupid? We can get rid of all our employees and we can just have that. I'm like, what are you talking about? You need IT people, you need finance people, you need your tax returns done, you need marketing, you need sales. You can't do it with AI. How's AI going to sell? My best was, I'm getting my refrigerator delivered, and I joked with the guy at Best Buy. I said, how could AI deliver my fridge? How are they going to take my old fridge out and deliver my fridge? How can AI do that? How can AI drive the truck? How can it load the fridge on, drive the truck, unload it, take my fridge out, put that in? How can AI do that? It's the whole thing is just ludicrous that AI can do all this. AI can't do shit. AI is not better than humans. It cannot analyze, problem solve the way humans do. It's impossible. It just can pull data up. So it's really, I saw a job for AI programmer or whatever, and I'm like, I don't want that. I don't want to work at AI and have to lose people their jobs, and it's for nothing. So everybody's running AI that, it's like the running quarterback. Yeah, but it doesn't work. Everybody's running the 4th and 1, but all these guys are getting fired. It really wasn't a good idea. Everybody's running to, let's pinch hit my 300 hitter with my 0 hitter because he's left-handed and the other guy's right-handed and the pitcher comes in as left-handed. Yeah, but he's hitting 037 and I'm taking my 300 hitter out of the game. Probably not a good idea. And so my lefty really doesn't hit 300. He only hits 300 against righties. And my DH, who hits 048, only does it against lefties. So he's really not an 048 hitter. He's far less. So that's where you're at. This whole pitch count's ridiculous. This 5 days between. You don't have enough good major league pitchers to do all this bullshit. And that's why the product's lacking and these games are, an 8-run 5th inning. And you're like, why did you leave the pitcher in to give up 8 runs? What kind of manager are you? Well, we had to eat innings. You just lost the game. Well, yeah, but now I have my relief pitchers who suck, who are minor leagues for the next 2 days. Unbelievable. Anyway, that's about it, I think. Comments, questions? Anybody? McFly? Bueller? Anybody? So that's what you look for. That's why we play defense. That's what money is. Money is the trade. You're trading your money for goods and services, for popcorn or hot dogs and soda, as Behold did. And that's fine. That's what money is. It trades so you can eat. That's why you can't do Bitcoin. He could not have done Bitcoin. How would he buy the hot dogs with Bitcoin? He wouldn't have been able to. Maybe there's one guy out there who wants the Bitcoin who will trade the Bitcoin for the hot dogs. But otherwise, nobody's doing that. He needs something that will trade, that will give value to the guy selling the hot dogs and sodas. And that's the real point of it. And that's all it is. It's all trade. All economics is trade. Is there a market? Is basically saying, can I trade Oreo cookies for money? I'm looking for a product that people will give me money, that they will trade me their money for my product. That's it. That's economics in its simplest form. It's a trade thing. It's a value. But when you fuck the value of the money up, fucks the trade up, because now the trade should be $1. is now $5 for Oreo cookies. So the value of what you're getting paid is down, which nobody sees. You were making, I saw a video in the 60s, 1962. You could buy a house. The guy made $7,000 a year and lived very comfortably, took vacations. The wife didn't work. The house was $22,000 or $3,000, and that was it, right? So the father could go to work, make $7,000, and they lived very happily. The wife never had to work. The kids could eat. Everything was fine with $7,000. Now $7,000 you make in a month, and it's basically worthless. That's the destruction of the money. But they don't want to tell you that, and they won't tell you. They'll just tell you inflation is this and inflation is that. And it's bullshit. Inflation is not 2%. It's thousands of a percent. It's the value of your money is zero. That's what inflation really is. There's no percentage. This dollar, these dollars have no value. You've destroyed these dollars. That's the inflation. This dollar, what it could buy you in the 60s and the 70s, it can't buy you anything now. That's the inflation. This has no value to buy things. That's what the inflation is. Not, well, they raised the price on Coca-Cola to $3, so the price is going up. That's just a fantasy by the government so they can make it sound like everything's rosy. It's not. It's ridiculous. Who texted me? I love this. This looks like AI. Dr. Robbins. I'm not a doctor. Beeper from home. OB/GYN call in Mayfield, Kentucky. 2 hours work, 5,000. Sound interesting. Does it sound like I'm a doctor? This is your AI. Yeah, Dr. Robbins. I'm not a doctor. I keep getting these things where we'll give you money for your property. I don't own property. For your house. I don't own a house. I haven't owned a house since 2008. Then I've been in condos mostly renting, and now here waiting for this market to collapse and not sure where I want to be. So I don't want to really get tied down to having a house and then having to worry about selling the house. And the market was down, so there was no point in buying. And now I'm waiting for the market to crash, and then 2 ounces of gold will buy me a house. And I don't know where I want to live. It won't be here. I don't know. Caribbean, maybe in Singapore area, Hong Kong. I don't know, wherever it's safe. I don't know how safe Europe is. So just be careful with that. Anyway, that's what everything is. So be careful. You're listening to inflation and they're not even telling you the truth. It's 2%. Oh, look, everything's fine. Look at the stock market, 50,000. Yeah, you're printing money, putting it in the stock market. $50,000. Well, the dollar's not worth anything. So if we take it into 1970 terms, the stock market's like 5,000 or 500 or something. But it looks good because you are still using 1970 value. So you see the stock market at 50,000, you go, wow. 1929, it was $279. But if you use the inflation, it should be a lot higher than 50,000 in those dollars. So everything's skewed. All these trillionaires now. I was watching, there's 10 companies that are valued at $1 trillion. What does that tell me? The money ain't worth shit. The money's worth nothing. For these companies to be worth $2 trillion, they just keep putting money into it. So that's the price of the stock by the shares outstanding gets you the value. They're way overvalued. Those are in the bubbles. So be careful with that. Just stay out of the stock market. Yeah, I know it's tempting. You're going to make money, but are you going to make money? Are you actually going to sell and take profit And then are you smart enough to sell and buy gold and silver with it? If you're not, you shouldn't be in the stock market. You're going to pay capital gains tax on it anyway. Calculate that in. Well, I won't sell it. I'll just hold it. Then you didn't make a nickel. When the dollar goes out, you're fucked. Or you buy gold and silver, you don't worry about it. Anyway, I think that's it. www.teaserking.com. I have a few buyers for baseball, $25 for a week. I'm red hot. Yesterday, 7-2 made 10 units. The day before, 6-4 made 5 units. It's the amount of units we make, but a very good day yesterday. Plus 10 units. Today should be a really good day. I was going to say something, but I didn't really want to yesterday. Like, I knew yesterday was going to be a very good day. I had the right pitching matchups, and the day I had a bad day, I was just really betting streaks, not the pitchers. And then I've been getting disoriented. I wanted to bet Philly over Cleveland on the weekend, and I didn't bet the game, and because Cleveland was on the winning streak and Philly won, and I knew Philly was going to win. I said, motherfucker, you got to just stick with the pitchers, and the secondary is the streak. So here's what you should bet. Look at the pitchers. If it agrees with you, bet it. If it doesn't, don't bet the streak because it's all dependent on pitchers. And you can go 5 games with 5 different pitchers. So if you're like St. Louis, you got 5 pitchers. You could have a 4-game losing streak, but your ace hasn't pitched yet. So you got to be careful. I like to go like Philly or Boston lost with Ranger Suarez, so I probably want to go against Boston today or bet the game over because he lost. He's their best pitcher. Now you get to the worst pitchers. Anyway, that's about it. Anything else? www.teaserking.com. Like I say, $25 for the baseball for the week. So if you pay today, normally my customer said, when should I pay? I said, pay me Monday. We'll go Monday through Monday. It's really 7 days. Let's just do Monday to Monday, and then we won't have a thing. And we'll go from there. And that's it. So I've kind of problem solved baseball fairly good, as good as anybody could, based on all these different variables and the bullpens and all this shit. All right. Have a good one. Enjoy. Be careful. And I'm so excited to get my thing on my fridge on Friday and have peace and quiet and go from there. So I'll lose a little space, but I'm not really too worried about it. I don't need that much space, and we'll go from there. All right. Have a good day, everybody. www.teaserking.com. All right. Take care. Enjoy your day.